Today we're making our famous bird feeder wreath.
As I said, today we're making my famous bird feeder wreath craft, and right off the bat I need to give credit to one of my daycare parents, Melissa. She's actually the person who came up with this recipe that has now been really popular on my website for almost 5 years. She brought it for the daycare kids one day and we put it out, and it was just so much fun to watch all the birds and the squirrels come and enjoy our wreath, and ever since we've made it every single year with the daycare kids. I decided to make a recipe video for it because I always get a lot of questions about the amount of gelatin that this recipe calls for. Yes, it does require a lot of gelatin. You're making a really thick gelatinous substance that is going to hold up to hanging it or all of the beatings that it's going to get from the wildlife in your yard. We tend to make this in the early spring or late fall so that it can actually be hung up as a wreath. It's almost kind of like an ice ring, the consistency that it gets to. If you're making it when it's warmer or you just live in a warmer climate, you might want to put it out on a plate, on a cookie sheet, or just on a flat surface that the birds can access. If it's too warm where you are, it's not going to stay as a cohesive wreath. It's just gonna blop down, and it might be still fun to see all the birds come and visit it, but chances are a lot of squirrels and stuff are going to demolish it pretty quickly. So this is a really fun recipe to make with the kids. There are some steps that are a bit quick moving that you will need to step in for, but they really will enjoy helping make, the flour paste, mixing up the seeds with whatever other mix-ins you decide to add, whether those are nuts or berries. Make sure that what you're adding is bird safe. I've actually checked this recipe with our local veterinarian, and they said that there was no issue. There is a little bit of corn syrup in the recipe, but if you don't feel comfortable using that, you can use a different natural sweetener. The veterinarian assured me that there wasn't enough and that the birds weren't going to, as long as we're not making them every single week for our local wildlife, it's not going to cause any issues. It's just kind of like giving your dog a treat. You're not going to give them treats nonstop, but a treat every once in a while isn't going to hurt them. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. And if you want a printable recipe for it, make sure to go to my blog. The link is in the description below. We have a printable recipe there that you can print off and have with you as you make this bird feeder wreath yourself.
Okay, so to start off with, you want to grease a bundt pan and set it aside. You may want to put your cranberries, seeds, nuts in that, or just leave that for a future step. Right now, I'm forming a natural glue with half a cup of light corn syrup, 1/4 cup of flour, and 1/3 cup of water. This is a great step to get the kids involved with. It is your natural glue to hold in all of the bird seed. Again, as mentioned in the introduction, if you want to use something else instead of the corn syrup, I definitely encourage you to do that. However, we have not tested this recipe without corn syrup. We're just making one a year, so it's not something that's going to dramatically change the diet of the animals in our environment. Add 3 to 4 cups of bird seed and have the kids stir it in. My kids love testing the stickiness at this stage, seeing if it's compacting nicely or if we still need more bird seed. You don't want any of the bird seed to be dry or not sticky. It will become more solid in the fridge later. Now we're moving on to the gelatin step. You can also use suet for this, but I find gelatin more reliable. You need 1 cup of gelatin powder and mix it with 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of warm water. Then you want to add in about 1.5 cups of different mix-ins. We like cranberries, pumpkin seeds, and almonds. Now, I have to mention, I ran out of gelatin powder for this recipe. I had already made our yearly wreath with the kids, so I only had 1/2 cup of gelatin mix left to shoot this video for you guys, and you'll see in a moment that it wasn't enough. It did not form a solid layer in my wreath. It does not look as pretty as the one in my pictures. And in order to get the gelatin at a good price, I like to go to bulk stores. Don't go to the grocery store and buy a ton of those little packets. You're going to need a lot to form this 1 cup. So this is a step that you need to move quickly for. And again, you can see that me not having enough gelatin powder really made a huge issue. If I had that full cup of gelatin powder, I would have been able to form a solid layer of that gelatin in the bundt pan, but I didn't. It's not a huge make or break issue. As you can see, I still was able to form my wreath, but it would have looked a lot nicer had I had that full cup. Refrigerate overnight, and then the next day you can pop out your bird seed wreath and hang it up or lay it outside for your birds to enjoy. I hope that your kids love getting to make their own bird seed wreath. And if you like our recipes, crafts, and travel, I hope that you subscribe to our channel. Have a great day.